Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate, and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. So, I want to talk to you today about Earth School. A lot of people in mysticism, Gnosticism, esoterica, spirituality, etc., self-development, talk about Earth as being an Earth school, that we are here to learn. We come and we reincarnate multiple times over in order to learn lessons, etc. So, I want to take that just a little bit further and give you some thoughts on what has come to me about that. Some of the downloads I've gotten about that is that it is absolutely, some people call Earth a prison planet. I personally didn't look at school like it was a prison exactly. However, I did look at it as if it was a place sometimes I really wished I wasn't. However, I personally, I don't want to subscribe to the planet being a prison because I don't want to feel like I'm powerless to do anything about being here, or that I was powerless in getting here. And so I volunteered to show up for this school, as it were. And I don't even really like to look at it so much as school, because that does have a lot of negative connotation for many people. And for me personally, my academia sucked. So, you know, those words can get in the way of us getting the nature of what we're trying to say to one another. It can flaw the communication heavily. So however you understand this, that if we're here and we're rotating through over and over and over again, to learn different things, to experience different things, to venture out into different areas of our fields of vibration, then we can understand from a very different level that this time around I'm working on such and such, or such and such. I'm looking to balance, myself in this situation. I'm looking to bring balance to this situation, etc. Well, if we take into account that every soul has sovereignty and every soul is a piece of cosmology, I personally don't believe anybody is more chosen than anybody else. I think we choose ourselves and then doop, we are chosen. I know that there are people out there who believe something different, and that's fine. It's just, to me, I like to think of us all as having a baseline understanding of that we are all humanity, and at a minimum, we are all here with the same level of importance in the school. To me, it's similar to saying that, a kindergartner would be less valuable to a school than a senior because they're younger and they don't know as much. And I would like to challenge the thought that, the senior is more valuable and more important. They're more important to themselves, most definitely. They're more important to the 12th grade and their peers and all of that. However, to the kindergartner who doesn't know as much and behaves differently and behaves immaturely, they're not less important or valuable. They have a different role that they're serving. However, if it's an equitable, kind, and loving school, which I believe Earth is, then that means that every student in there is regarded the same as their student in this school. We love them, we care about them, we want them to succeed. Now, where we run into some differences of opinion, and where I see some real strife, is that some of us want to carve out whole entire grades and say, oh my God, those idiot preschoolers, I can't stand them, or those moronic, second graders, I can't believe they did that. And when I really have to challenge myself about routinely is looking around and looking at people and seeing that that is spiritually someone who's really very immature. They are acting the way that they're acting because they do not understand, at least not out here expressing themselves, no matter how much they could, the potential to be, if they're in kindergarten and they're 5 years old, they're not more than likely going to be able to be expressing physics to me the way that somebody who's in 12th grade or somebody who's in their doctoral program would be looking at astronomy the same way. So without looking at the kindergartner and throwing shade and saying, oh my God, what a stupid 5-year-old that they don't get physics. If I am a physics major, if I'm a physics teacher, if I'm, somebody that's into that and I really, really understand my craft, my field, and my academia really well, it's actually kind of ridiculous that if I'm truly solid in what I'm about and what I believe, then how can I look at a 5-year-old and see anything with anything less than the potential to know something really great about physics and astronomy if they wanted to. Now, if they're spitting in my face and they're throwing things and they're, trying to stab me in the forehead or something, we need to talk about the behavior. However, to say that 5-year-old, because they're acting immaturely, they're acting ridiculously, their behavior sucks, etc., takes away their value as a human being, I challenge anybody to tell me, 444, thank you, challenge anybody anybody to tell me that do any of us want to be disposable. And let me tell you, friends, when you've been disposable, when you have been told you don't deserve to live, that comes with quite a punch to the face of, wow, the audacity of someone to say that to me. What made you so important? However, it hurt a lot of feelings in my life long before then, before I realized that exactly who are you to tell me that I don't deserve to live? I might be a kindergartner in your eyes, and maybe I am. Maybe I don't know enough about this life thing that I'm really, not doing it very well in your humble opinion. However, it doesn't take my value as a kindergartner away. It doesn't take away the value of the senior either. There's no value evaluation necessary. However, that's what we do as Earth citizens, is we look at one another constantly. We're comparing ourselves and always looking for the upper hand, where we can have that power differential of, I'm more important and this is why, or that person is so fill in the blank. We rarely look for those opportunities to lift one another. We're usually looking for an opportunity to side with somebody who's already saying that's terrible, because it's easy to do that. Or we're looking for an opportunity to slide in and be, feeding our ego, or feeding that part of us that really needs validation, etc. And so when we're doing that on the backs of people who, no matter how monstrous they're behaving, I'm not talking about condemning behavior. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm saying it's okay to look at behavior and go, that absolutely will not do. You cannot do that. Absolutely not. I wouldn't let a 5-year-old come in and, mow down the class with an automatic rifle or something. Then it's not about the behavior, it's about the worth of the child. And unfortunately, in our cultures around the world, we believe that life is so disposable that it's okay to truly hold that notion that life is less valuable because of behavior. And I'm here to say, no, behavior makes us really not want to have people be around us, perhaps, and behavior can really dictate, how we're going to go in life. It does actually dictate how we're going to go in life and where we're going to be and what we're going to do. However, it never once can take away from the value of us as being students in Earth School, because we are all loved, cared for, and a part of Earth School equally. That is the true unity consciousness of understanding that, is coming to that understanding that you as your person, even if you're acting like a complete ass, in my opinion, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be here. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve to have whatever it is that you have, or to have whatever experience you're having. It means that I'm going to need to be very, 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 very introspective and careful with my mouth in me judging you, putting it out there to try to control you, or doing something to not discern the behavior and say, I need to move away from you or move you away from me, for safety's sake. However, me putting my judgment on it and being, very stanky about it does not help. It actually harms the collective of every single person when we start believing that we're better. That's where my issue with believing that 12th graders are better in school, because they're not 5th graders. And, here's the fact, is that a 12th grader believing they're better than the 5th grader is not taking into account that there are doctoral students that are way better than them. And then the doctoral student can be pretty much resting on the fact that there are people that have been in the field that are way better than them. If we look at that evaluation thing and our worth, there is no evaluation on our worth. When we understand ourselves to be, I'm a seed of the cosmos, I am, a divine spark, I am that, then we recognize that in other people too. And we recognize that when they're in conflict about that and they don't understand that, they will act like a whole butthole. They will act like a whole entire ding dong and do all kinds of terrible things. And I do not mean to downplay violence or any of the stuff that's really, really wretched on this planet. It's just, I'm not going to give it a whole lot of gas, because terrible behavior is terrible behavior, no matter what it looks like. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. However, it cannot be unacceptable, so much so that I believe I get to dictate the fate of another person, or get to wish them ill, or get to get on any bandwagon believing that, yeah, go ahead, like a witch hunt. That's one of the reasons why we are where we are, is because lots of witch hunts in the past that have absolutely annihilated that spark of creativity, that ability, that magic, that sorcery of what we know to be the core of our very being. It's part of what the old age was, and we can get that if we get that. However, it really doesn't matter. We're no longer in a place where it serves anybody to be divided, and yet we continue to divide out of ignorance and out of arrogance, believing that somehow we have a right to do so. And so what I want to say is a kindergartner deserves to act like a kindergartner. Now, a kindergartner may not act at the level of what could be expected of a kindergartner. Now, it does not mean that the expectation can go beyond into the horrible and they show up, with equipment that hurts people, without saying too much. I didn't say that, but it can be expected that they would act with ignorance, that they would act in a petty way, that they would act like little juvenile delinquents at a 5-year-old level. What the problem is that we don't understand, and that's very hard to process sometimes, is that you got 50, 60, 70, 20, whatever year-old people who are really toddlers in spirituality, in their energetic understanding and their sovereignty. They're so tiny and so filled with ego. Instead of, the divine, their divine spark, they aren't honing that, they're honing their ego. And so they can be out doing great harm, and they are. So I am not in any way whatsoever saying, excuse me, that we let the horrible stuff go by the wayside and be forgiving and loving and all that. We're forgiving and loving, we absolutely are, while we put our foot right in it and say, no, you may not do that to me. You need to move that away from me, or I just move myself away from you. However, bringing more conflict to it doesn't do anything. And Albert Einstein already told us, if you keep things at the level of the problem, you're going to continue to have the problem. And isn't that 1111 insanity and stupid and a huge waste of time? We don't have time for that anymore. I don't have time for it anymore. And as the timelines are splitting, excuse me, and people are actively choosing, we're at crossroads every single day, all day long, many of us, to decide, am I going to jump on this opportunity to lift myself up on the back stones and bones of somebody else, or am I going to lie down, roll over, and go ahead and take my place under the foot of somebody? Neither one of those things is okay, and neither one of those things serves us, nor does it serve either side of that, either the aggressor or the aggressee. When we play either side of that, we're not serving ourselves, and we're not serving the other party. We're not being honest with them and saying, yeah, this is some bullshit right here, or whatever we need to say to ourselves, that this is not for me. I need to move out, and I need to deal with me. What's inside me that had me think twice about, I think I want to go deep into that and get really filled with conflict with it. What is it in me that needs to be helped, loved, understood, forgiven, and soothed? What in me needs that right now that would rather do that, either to be a victim or to be a victimizer? What is it in me that needs attention? Because clearly that's about me. If I want to go deep on somebody's throat with something, that needs to be taken internally. Kate, why do you have that reaction? What 2, 3, 4 just passed? Why do you have that reaction? What is going on inside of you? Who's inside of you that needs to step up and speak to the mic immediately with what's going on? Because the baseline of peace and balance is that I'm chill, you're chill, whether you're chill or not, I'm chill, and I'm chill with you being whatever you are, whether you're chill or not. And when I suddenly want to start judging or hating on somebody or feeling like, oh, they're hurting me, they're doing something, oopsie, I'm either being the aggressor or I'm willing to take someone else's aggression, doesn't mean that people won't throw it. Does not mean that people will not throw acid at us. It does not. It's a matter of what do we do when we receive that? What do we do when conflict is presented to us? Do we dig in and start talking about how chosen we are, how special we are, and how dare you? I'm a senior. La, la, la. Then we're meeting a toddler with toddler behavior, and that's not a very popular notion that people like to hear. However, 1331, it happens to be the truth. When we're presented with things and we meet it at that same level of violence, of pettiness, of jealousy, of lack, of misunderstanding, of whatever that is, that's something that's internally driven that we are responsible for, no matter what anybody else is doing. I am ultimately always responsible for myself and how I'm going to respond to somebody else's doo-doo. It doesn't matter that they threw the doo-doo, that is theirs, and they have to deal with the responsibility and accountability of that. However, getting myself out of the market with believing that I need to be a part of that, Oh, no, I don't. Because humans, we have no idea. 1414, we have no idea how to bring justice. We think we are justice. We call ourselves justice. We even have people running around that, I'm the karma bringer. Well, karma will come, period. And acting with integrity and grace and listening very carefully to our intuition and our guide, our higher selves, whatever you call that, listening to that help move us through. That brings the karma for all of us, because karma is simply the understanding of balance is being brought. Balance is always being brought. And when we bring more imbalance by not really understanding that or believing that we can somehow exact that on our own without any articulation of understanding what the bigger picture is, then we're actually creating more division and more problem, and we're actually distracting ourselves a little bit further from the truth, which is that I have my own volition. I am not the universe. I am a chunk of it. I'm here being a human just like everybody else. And I'm in school. And yes, I may be further along in my education than some. However, I certainly am further back than others. And I don't even have to look at it so much like that. It's just that comparison helps me stay in check with, yes, I am where I am. And if I look at where I was when I was in kindergarten, I can see that I've made a lot of changes. And this is what's really great for me, is to look at my own self and see the progress that I've made, and stop looking around the class and seeing who might be better, who might be worse, because it's a distraction from the work that's right here. So I encourage anybody that is feeling like, somebody else is better, somebody else is worse, all of these different things where we're making very subjective opinions known, that we learn how to be very quiet about, why is it that I want to articulate that out loud? Why is it that I want to be heard on that point? What is it inside of me that if instead of me making that comment or that gesture or that movement or taking that action, what if I closed my mouth, opened my heart, and said, what inside of me needs a need met right now that apparently isn't being met, because I feel the need to actually roll over and feel guilty and ashamed of myself, or I feel like baring my teeth and going deep into somebody's throat. What is this? Whenever we feel those things, it's about coming into understanding that we are responsible for that, no matter what anybody else is doing. Does mean that their behavior, it does not mean that their behavior is acceptable or that it's righteous or that it's dignified, respectful, graceful, or kind. It doesn't. You can't be responsible for that. However, no matter whether somebody throws a brick through my window or not, I'm still going to be the one that's responsible for handling the after effects of it. So I've never had one surgery, not one surgery in my entire life have I ever had that a person could do any of that healing for me. They could hold my hand, they could, pat my head and, kiss my forehead and say, it'll be all right, Kate, it'll be all right. But not one person was going to experience that pain for me or with me for real. They were going to be adjacent to me in that. It's the same thing. When we're getting stuff from other people, it is ours to deal with that, not ask somebody that's adjacent to us to understand or care or whatever. They're not going to. If somebody's already throwing ass, they're not going to be there with you on that. And so the best that we can do is take that ass and what am I going to do with you? I'm going to transform this. I'm going to alchemize this. I'm going to use my mind to redefine exactly how I deal with this, which is to understand that I am my own sovereign nation. I am my own sovereign energy source, and it is my responsibility and my accountability to heal from all the wounds, pick up all the bricks that went through my window, and then start doing those things that make my windows, just vibranium tough and you can't really get a brick through me. That's all right. It's okay. It takes some time. It takes some work. It's just, we're really imprinted heavily, some of us, all of us to some degree, with that doom imprint of what, victimization is and how it is that we're supposed to be. And we're not meant for that. Sovereign beings are not meant to be in gilded cages anywhere. We're meant to be free. We have wings, then let's use them to fly instead of being turkeys that, hover on the ground and fly very little. So anyway, I hope that this is helpful to you in some way, and I do hope that you enjoy your day no matter what part of your day you're in. And remember to get within your skin, because you're divine. Oh yeah, sovereign, sovereign, sovereign. You, your higher self, all of you, your divine is absolutely fine and can guide you through those situations where I think I want to, get right there with it, or I don't think I deserve to be breathing at the moment. Either one of those extremes, wow, we really want to get to the middle of understanding that I absolutely do belong here, and I am so very, very, very vitally important to the operation of this earth, and I am absolutely nothing all at the same time. I'm something and I'm nothing all at the same time, and it is okay. I'm in line. So as I said, get within your skin because you're divine. totally gorgeous and totally fine. Take care, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye, my beautiful friends. Mwah.